Chelsea 1, Tottenham nil. Chelsea eating chicken, 3-point lane. Welcome back to FFB, amigos. And it's a real welcome back. It's been a while, little absence from videos. Shout out to Matt from the Stamford Sink. Thank you so much for covering on my lives and doing an amazing job. Thank you for all of those that joined Matt and watched the lives with him while I was away and actually joined today. Thank you so much. They said you did a good job, Matt. What a match. What a match. Very interesting. The only thing that matters at the end of the day is that we got the 3 points. And before the match started, I said this immediately. It doesn't really matter what is happening, what position they are in the league, what position we are in the league. This match is a battle. This match is a moral must-win for Chelsea. It's just a match that we win. It's what we do. They are our rivals. We put them to shame. It just needs to happen, no matter what. It's one of those things that it could have gone so badly for us because we really needed the boost. And if we hadn't gotten it, it would have been really bad to have, let's say, lost against Tottenham. But that's not what we do. And even this young crop of players that are out here now, they understand. They know it. They know how much this matters. And they pulled it off. To be honest, there's some things that I didn't like in the match and some things that I did like. We're going to try to go through it a little bit here quickly. But the first thing was the lineup. I don't think there was any surprises. All of us Chelsea fans, we want to see Esteban play every single match, every single minute, every single day, because he doesn't, he brings that magic to the field. But it was very understandable that we didn't bring him in for this match and that we went a little bit more with experience. Joe Pedro scores today, but I don't think he was at the level we needed him to. And obviously Fernandez is always going to play, even though we sometimes see him tired. The whole Gusto James thing was happening, and a lot of you guys are not fans of Mal Gusto at all. But I am a fan. I actually have him in my match program right here. The last time that I was at Stamford Bridge, and I appreciate the young man. I think he's asked to do a lot of difficult things, complicated things tactically, and he puts himself in harm's way in a position of vulnerability quite often because of what he's asked to do. And we were unsure if it was going to be James in the middle or him. And at times we saw a little bit of both. Other than that, we saw Fofana come in for Chalobah, who was later taken out for Townsend, which I wasn't very sure as to why that happened. But I think maybe because we expected some long balls to come in as they were coming in. But let's get into it. So it was Sanchez, James, Fofana, Chalobah, Cucurella, Malagusto, Moises Caicedo, which I think I'm going to call Blue Demon from now on. Just letting y'all know. I'm going to bring up an image if I can right here. It's a Mexican wrestler. He says it's not Mexican, but I'm just saying a Mexican wrestler called Blue Demon. I was on vacation in Mexico very recently and at work, and I saw this blue mask, man. Blue and white mask from the Blue Demon, and this guy is a Blue Demon in midfield. He's an assassin. His actions are pretty much what led to the goals. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. And Garnacho on the left, Fernandez, Pedro Neto, and Joe Pedro. So at the very beginning of the match, we got lucky. It's not like it was a very impressive player, but Birdwell goes out because he got hit in the head, I think once, and then hit by the ball. And he must have been showing signs of a concussion or something like that because, let me mute this, because they pretty much, his medical team decided to take him out. They did like a little test. Can you hear me? Whatever. He did fall kind of weird, to be honest. And that did an unexpected change at the beginning of the game that made it difficult to come back from that. Then the Chelsea press leads to a one-on-one with Joe Pedro. This is what I'm saying. He needs to put that in. He was played in right into the box, one-on-one with the keeper, which the Vicar Vicario had a great game. I think he was the best player, the player of the match. And that says something. That's the kind of match that we had when they pen so much. And then the beast, the man, the monster, Moises Caicedo. Dudes, what a wonderful press. Yes, the goal was scored by Joao Pedro, but the play is all about him. So Moises Caicedo does a press when they're trying to play out, recovers the ball. The ball sort of is going to Pedro Neto. It's between him and Moises Caicedo, and Pedro Neto makes the mistake, I believe, of sort of nicking the ball off of him. and try to play it, and he does a horrendous job. Immediately his shoulders drop. Oh no, I messed up, which I hate that with soccer players and football players. But not Moy. He doesn't drop. He doesn't drop his attitude or sense. I'm looking at it right now. And he plays a really poor pass straight into the defender, Moises, without losing, without skipping a beat. He's running at that player, but he plays it wide. He changes, curves his run, presses that player immediately. He plays back to the one prior. Moises is straight on it, presses him, nicks the ball, faces, cuts into the box, and has the presence of mind to avoid one foul and play Joao Pedro in. That basically just has a tap in, and he gives us the glory. He gives us the goal that we were desperate for. And this was happening, I'm looking at it now, 34th minute. And that's very worrisome because it's hard for us to hold on to result at Chelsea lately, defensively and in transition and organizational. And we expected this team to see a lot of things happening in transition. But I think we managed well. And, man, Tottenham did not show up today. We tried to give them opportunities. We really did. As every team, we have dips in performance. And certainly Chelsea had some today. And we really tried to give them some opportunities. They were unable to take advantage of them. And that was pretty much it. After the 35th minute, towards the end of the first half, look, we had possession. We didn't look like we were going to score at the first half. If you ask me, we had possession. We had the ball. Malo Gusto puts in a great cross for Joao Pedro, who does well, but hits it at the middle of the goal. And that's what I'm saying. Two things that I saw there. Malo Gusto playing wide, which he's not allowed to ever do, which I like when he does. We saw Garnacho in space more in the second half. We'll get into that later. We had a defensive error right at the very end of the first half that led into a curved shot by Kudus, which Sanchez does a pretty good job to save. But that's a good example of us doing some poor defending. And then just broadly, we weren't in control of the match. We had possession, but it was kind of sloppy at times. And certainly, Tottenham weren't there to come in. On the second half, at the very beginning of the second half, we had a great attacking opportunity. Enzo Fernandez, which looks tired a little bit to me. At times he disappears, but he's such a good player, so talented, that he can always do some damage. Later down the road, we replaced Garnacho, which my amigacho Garnacho, he does not like getting substituted. And I think you're going to have to turn that frown upside down, young man, because this is a heavily rotated team, and it's constantly going to be the case. So that attitude change might be important. I want to speak to Garnacho, because, again, he did not have a bad match, but he didn't bring the magic. In the few minutes that we saw Estevao come in, we see the difference. Of course, I don't want to compare maybe that level of natural-born magic monster, but you do need your winger to beat their man. That's kind of what they're there to do. When they're locked up and they have three people there, sure, you have to cut in, play back, play the ball back to the midfield, whatever. But when you've got space, you got one-on-one, you got to take them on. You managed to do that once or twice, but then sort of failed to do that, disappointed. But I think he's improving. I just hope he doesn't end up just being part of potential FC of what could have been, and he's going into it. He certainly doesn't like being taken off, like I said. Then with those changes, the smitten kitten comes in, which I think he did a great job. He was a little bit more aggressive. I liked what he came in to do. Defensively, I thought he was a little bit off, but he certainly did a good job offensively. He found himself in space, played a great ball, and where Fernandez again shot to Pedro Neto, went over the ball. That was actually the nicest play. It didn't lead to a goal, but we went to the wing, we cut in, we did a pass, we did a flick. Enzo didn't take the shot he should, and he played in Pedro. And after that, we actually had a shot from Reece James. I do want to bring up something that I thought Spurs did very, 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 very poorly, and so did we, to be honest, which was set pieces, which is kind of one of our strengths. A couple of them, we didn't cross in properly. Let's say just crappy crosses, to be honest. On the corners, we had Cucurella coming really short, which I didn't understand, and we just played short to put in a ball later, which I didn't get. And a couple of balls that we didn't have our best players put the ball in. I remember one that was played back to Malo Gusto from Reece James when actually we were pretty close to the box. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Tottenham, same thing. Knowing that we suck at lob balls into the box. As a matter of fact, I want to call one out. That was if I'm not mistaken, is a long throw-in. Again, the throw-ins. A long floated throw-in. And can you explain this to me? So it goes over the right back, the one center back, the second center back, and it just bounces in the middle of the box. In the middle of the box, closer to goal than the penalty spot from a long throw. And fortunately, Betancourt is the one that's there. If Betancourt would have trusted that that Chelsea were going to allow the ball to land, he could have just taken 3 steps up in the air and he had a free header. Or even worse, just 1 step, and that ball would have landed straight at his feet and he had a free shot on goal. So that's always concerning. But again, they didn't take advantage of it. And when they had other free kicks, these maniacs often played the ball short again. And I don't understand what they were trying to accomplish. Chelsea very similarly to that. So they didn't take much advantage of it. I don't think Thomas Frank was able to find the answer. He really tried. Then towards the end, we're just happy to see Estevao come in and he puts in a ball to Joao Pedro, who finds the smitten kitten. And this is the part that I want to, and I call the smitten kitten Gittins. Gittins, man, because, like I said, he came in terms of like being aggressive and beating man. His man is running. But I don't care if you're 12 years old. That one-on-one that he gets with the keeper, he really needs to put away. So I think the conversion was actually really poor for Joao Pedro and really poor for the team, given the opportunities that were created. And a lot of periods of the time where we didn't create, where we had possession and Tottenham were very, very, very poor. We could have created more. So leaves me a little bit worried because I think it's one of those where, Tottenham really weren't on the ball. I'm looking at another one right now towards the end. Joao Pedro, another one-on-one. This time played in by Enzo Fernandez. One-on-one with the keeper. Just doesn't do it, man. Just doesn't do the business. We can't have that. We can have our leading goal scorer. I was going to say striker, but I'm not sure. We're talking about forward of a striker. Miss 3 one-on-ones in a match. Yes, he gave us one, but actually that one was impossible to miss. And it's a winner, but it was really down to Caicedo more. So that's a little bit disappointing. And again, Gittins, you can't miss that goal. So that's something that we take away. I believe, and I hope that those things are like statistics, right? They're going to miss X amount. They got them out of their system. And now for the upcoming matches, they're less likely to do that. Let's hope. Again, very excited to see Estevao at the end. He came in and we saw what he does. He did some damage. One thing that Maresca learned, I think, in a hard way also is that when you put in an offensive player, it's in a way of defending. Famously, attack is the best form of defense or whatever. But in reality, yeah, because you kept them really busy and terrified. Yes, he leaves a little bit of space in behind, but by then we had Lavia in the field, and that's something I was a little bit more relaxed about. Reece James wasn't going to bomb forward after he came into the right hand slot. Because we put Lavia in for Gusto at that point. We had Gittins on the field. Now we had Estevao on the field. So we made quite a few changes. The one that was tricky is Fofana left the match and made way for Tossin. Now, prior to that, I saw a couple of aerial balls that Fofana actually beat Richarlison. So it looked like the game plan towards the end in desperation was to play long, high balls into Richarlison, would bring those balls down for others to come in behind. But he managed to do well. But Maresca saw something. Either he had a niggle or a thought, or he just knew that more bombing balls were going to come in. He trusts Tossin because of his size a little bit more. He came in. But honestly, they were just crap. Tottenham were crap at putting those balls in the field. They weren't putting in the cross. They weren't whipping them in. They played 1 or 2 passes before putting in the ball and allowed us to recover. It didn't make any sense. And that actually led to us opportunity through Estevao. Again, because he's a terrifying force. He created space for Joao Pedro. That's the difference. That's kind of like Joao Pedro did well when he had Palmer in the team. And I think that's something that also was brought today by Estevao. When you have that guy that makes this danger, that shifts people out of their positions, that puts them on their back heel, you create opportunity and space for your striker at number 9. And we saw that. Very excited, very happy. Again, reaction in midweek. We'll look into it a little bit more in the upcoming matches. But we're always happy. We killed the pigeon. We ate our chicken. We went there. We conquered. We deserved it. Spurs sucks. I don't know where they were. They should be embarrassed how they showed up today against Chelsea. Chelsea, just a couple of things to polish. We were just better. We were just better. Our individual quality showed through in the end. Moises Caicedo, Blue Demon, I am a Moy boy. Hashtag Moy boy. That's from now on. Those of us that believe he is the best midfielder in the world and support him full-heartedly. We just need to make sure this man could get a rest. I suffer every match that he could get injured because of the amazing effort that he makes on every play. He fights every ball and plays every single minute. And we really need Lavia to come back. Maybe Santos de Sugo, whoever it is that we're going to provide some coverage in the middle. Especially because I think in the coming months, guys, we're going to see a lot of players ask for rest and take rest because we are in a World Cup year. And Moises Caicedo is crucial, as many of the other Chelsea players, crucial players for the national team. So let's hope that we can get everybody healthy so we can have a healthy rotation and get the business done as needed. And as always, to all the Chelsea players, thank you so much. Today you pulled the win. Again, it doesn't even matter how. It doesn't matter about the misses. It was a decent job. We really needed to. You come through. Now we have a full year knowing, again, that we beat Spurs at their own chicken coop, and we appreciate it. Thank you so much. And to all the fans that joined, please like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for coming to the lives. Those that you came to the lives, I look forward to doing those. That's the most fun for us creators. And certainly, I'll make some good videos now that I'm back into a bit more of a routine. And as always, Chelsea fans, come on, you Blues.